Hi, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving today, and I hope that you don't have too much trouble eating all of the leftovers that you're about to have this week. But I wanted to come out with a video because I want you to see this, and I think you're going to enjoy it. Is it a coincidence? I think not. I'm going to warn you up front that this is going to be a tough pill for you to swallow if you're not the kind of a person that could correctly solve the poem. Take a look at this. Now, you've seen this before. This is the diagram that's on site at the wheel. Like I said, it's already got all the lines drawn. Here's A, B, C, D, E, F, O. Now, the F1 is inside. It's inside the circle. That's where you would sit when you're on the vision quest and when you're observing the stars. And like I said, this is ever drawing nigh because when you enter the wheel area, there's a sign over here that says walk left. So you have to walk clockwise around the wheel. I want you to also take notice that all of these turns are shaped like horseshoes or omegas, all of them, including F. E is also the only cairn that's set back from the wheel. And every single one of these cairns represents a star, which is a blaze. And this spans a full day because you would stand here and observe the sunrise. The sun would rise over here. And then, of course, the sun goes around twice. When it goes around twice, you would stand here and look across the center and you can observe the sunset. The D is actually in the middle between sunrise and sunset. D, of course, is the cairn that Forrest always prayed for. So that's it. But I just want to show you this map because this is what you see on site. This is how you're going to get the relationship. The only thing we're changing is that instead of walking towards the sun, we're going to do what Forrest Fenn and Donnie did and walk away from the sun. I'm not sure if I ever showed you this one, but this is the same kind of map. And this is also on site. And then there's also a third map right at the wheel that was carved in a block of stone. But you can better see the shapes of the omegas here. This one's touching it. This one's away. This one's facing that way. This one's touching it. And this one is away. So again, we got A, B, C, D, E, F. So I just want to see that map too, because I used both of those maps, and I'll show you right now. So here we are inside the poem. You've seen this image already. I'm not going to explain it again, but I kind of made a mock-up of that circle, and I measured where all of the cairns would be. And here's F, A, B, C, D, E, and O, of course, is in the center. I didn't draw the lines on there because we don't need it. Now, there's a little bit of an inaccuracy with this because this is a perfect circle, but if you look at all of these drawings, you know, it's not really a circle. The Indians didn't make a perfect circle. So it's kind of like a little bit squished or oblong. But the measurements were all taken and they're all correct on here. Okay, that's why my E isn't set back. Because if you look at the wheel on mine comes out further than it does here. It's a little bit squished. So, but the measurements are all identical. Now, I want you to take a look at what we drew. We've discussed the end, okay? And then we got the end. Now you'll notice the space in between the D and the E and D. So when you're reading a vertically, you got try the wheel, and then you skip this line because as you can see, it's in between both of the blazes. And you're not going to read any further into here because this is the end. And when you're reading vertically, you're reading try the wheel. And then we got treasure coming down this column. And then we got end again. So I want you to look at both of these here. That's a double cross. It's called the Cross of Lorraine. If you look at sketches of the side of the treasure chest, the one that's buried under the ground, where you see the lady picking up a cover and she's reaching in there for a treasure chest in Forrest's book, you'll see the symbol on the side. Let me undo those green marks that I just made, but keep in mind that this E is on the word creek, and then we got the final D in loads. I'm reading it down. And then we already know that we're using the D cairn to find where warm water salt and the E cairn points down to where we're putting in below the Homa Brown, the road that actually leads to the place that we need to go to. In other words, it leads down, the sun, the blaze, leads down to that position, and then we're going back upstream. So let me undo this cross. I'll pick this up as a brush. I'll paste it. Now, obviously, the scales are different. I scaled it down just like you would take the poem, let's say, and you would overlay a transparency on top of the poem. You'll notice that if I move this right to the end, E-N-D, and I got it over the E in Creek, which is the end of the word the, and then I got it over the D in Loads, which is the end again. And this is like I'm saying, this cairn points to where warm water salt. This one points to the place that we're going to go to put in. It goes right over the path to the campsite, right over the bench, right over the creek, right into the canyon, right down to the rainbow and all of that. But is that a coincidence? I don't know. The E happens to match the E, and the D happens to match this D. It's not going to be exact, because like I said, if you look at this, this is not perfect either. So how about this one? I took this and I scaled this down. This is that map, and I inverted it so that it's white on black instead of black on white. Let's copy it. Let's paste it. Transparent. We'll do the same thing. Look at that. The D cairn is here. The E cairn is here. And the center, of course, is in the right place. And the place that you sit, notice, is right over the word there. So we took the treasures down into there, just like he did. We went alone in there. It's got to be a coincidence that this image from on site lines up perfectly with the poem after I've done what he told me to do with the lines. Now, remember, the poem is a map. So I don't know. I guess this, it just so happened to spell out, try the wheel. And then when I go to the wheel and I take a map that's at the wheel and overlay it, it happens to cross over the E and D that I'm using to locate where warm water salt and the sun. It happens to be at the end, and this is the end. Vertically, try the wheel. And I'm using the word the. I got the E and the, and end. The D and N. E-N-D. Coincidence. It's got to be. Okay, let's look at Dr. Eddy's diagram. Let's see now. Would you look at that? I mean, the scale is not exact because, again, everything's all squished, but wow, that's amazing. And I'll notice again now, the center of the wheel is on the end. It's on the end. And then this one is over to D. You'll notice that it's not exactly 180 degrees down. It's not supposed to be. This D cairn is not 180 degrees. It's like 170 something degrees off to the side, slightly. But anyway, this is the map. And as you can see on the map, this is north up here. This is north up here. This is north up here. This is the entrance. God, guys, it's got to be a coincidence. This has got to be another coincidence. I don't know. Like I said, here's the D cairn. I got my red line drawn, which goes right into the basin where the creek forms, which is where warm water salt. This red line is looking away from the sun. It goes right across the E cairn, right down, and it crosses over the place that we got to go up the road to go to the chest. We're about halfway, me in the middle, halfway between here and here. He takes you down, and you got to go up into the canyon. You can't come down. It's too far to walk. You'll fall to your death here. And if you were to follow the creek, you could fall over the waterfalls. So you got to come in from the bottom. Well, let's take a look at something. I took the poem and I inverted it and I printed out the words in black, and then I rotated it. And let me show you what happened. I rotated it so that we have here's the end, the end. And then I lined up the D where the cairn is here. I could scale this down more, obviously, but I can move the D up to the D if I scaled it down. And then, of course, this E would move in. Here's my sun line coming down, right? Here's my line coming down. Notice how it intersects right there in the poem. And not only does it intersect there, it just so happens that the E in thee is the line that we shifted to the left because we don't want any letters in the treasure column. So it's saying there will be no paddle up your creek. Well, look where that line points. Right down in the direction you're supposed to go. It's got to be a coincidence. It's got to be. And look where the end. Look where, if I line up the end. Now remember, I had to push these based on the poem into position. Look where that red line goes. Wow. Wow. It's got to be a coincidence, you know? The poem is a map, you say, right? So if the poem's a map and I took it with me on site and I overlaid a map on it, I would expect it to show me where to go, wouldn't I? So it's showing me where warm water salts, just like I said, and it's taking me down into the mouth of the canyon, over the falls, over the campsite, right next to the trail that leads to the chest, right down to the place that you got to turn off so you can get to the put in, and it ends at the Rainbow Canyon. Big coincidence. Big coincidence. So just so you know what I'm talking about, let me show you this image. That's the image that I loaded up in Google Earth. So you can see there's the end. So I went down the word the, and I drew the line coming straight out. Remember, that's the line that I had to shift left. Treasure is spelled down in this direction. When I read try the wheel, and then I read end, I drew another line because that's the way it goes. Happens to end at C, goes right over to E in peace. Interesting. Anyway, that must be a coincidence. I don't know. That's up for you guys to decide. I think it's pretty cool. It's obviously not a coincidence. And again, it's a tough pill for some people to swallow. That's okay. That's okay. You're just not that good at solving poems and finding treasure chests. That's okay. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. There's a lot more to come. This is only a very small sample of everything that I have, now that we're doing hints. So I figured I would stick to the poem, right? The poem is a map. There you go. Peace.